I have been playing Undertale Yellow a lot recently. Undertale Yellow being the fan-made prequel to one of the most popular indie games of all time. Well, right next to FNAF and Content Farm. Anyway, back to Undertale Yellow. I wanted to talk about a certain character in the story, the final boss of the pacifist route, and one of the most tragic characters in the game. Well, next to Flower, considering the implications of his boss battle. Ceroba, the fox, Kitsune... Fuck. Mainly I wanted to discuss why she decided to do what she did, and to explore her story in more detail. First things first, I want to go into more detail on who Ceroba is. She is the wife of the scientist Shujin, and best friend of the Wild East Sheriff Starlo, aka Northstar. You see her spend most of her time in the game at the local saloon drinking, and trying to be the voice of reason to Northstar's antic. Though if you decide to do the pacifist route, she becomes your companion and protector during your time in Steamworks. Then, like I said, the final boss in the pacifist route, where her passive motives finally come into question. Leading up to her boss battle, it's revealed that Shujin died because of an experiment to combine a certain DNA that made them boss monsters. Shujin had this DNA and was experimenting on himself, leading to the deterioration of his soul and his death. Ceroba wanted to continue his work as instructed in a video Shujin made before death, and was going with you in order to harvest your pure soul, which is why she doesn't bother going with you in the neutral route. But why didn't she just harvest your soul earlier instead of coming with you through Steamworks? The answer lies in a character I've not mentioned yet, her daughter Kaneko. All you know about her before the boss battle is that Kaneko died and was sent to the lab in Hotland, what you were going through Steam Labs for an experimental procedure that might bring monsters back to life. But what we know from Undertale is that these experiments don't work out. But during the fight, we learn the truth about Kaneko's death. That heavily changes the story and brings the character Ceroba into question. It turns out that Ceroba accidentally killed Kaneko because Kaneko wanted to volunteer for Chuda's project. You know, the same project that killed him. This is where Ceroba goes from, pretty messed up to like, holy it's a mess. Using an experimental serum that killed her husband on their young daughter, then trying to kill Clover to continue the project. Now the biggest question this raises is, why? Why would she do any of this? Well, looking into some details in the game and context, you can begin to see the line of thinking she had that led to her tragic circumstances during the events of Undertale Yellow. When going through Steamworks, Ceroba finds an employee file on her husband and reads it. The file shows how Shujin was constantly working making prototypes for a security robot, a robot that's the main threat in the Steamworks area, and how he kept messing up the prototypes, leading to him losing the potential title of being the top scientist. Ceroba tears up the paper in anger and blames the company and Asgore for not giving Shujin enough time, even though it was shown through the file that the prototype was heavily unstable and possibly dangerous. This is where Ceroba's fallacy is finally revealed. She has an unwavering and deep trust in Shujin's ideas and work. She puts so much faith into her husband that she's willing to risk her and her child's life, yet she thinks that everything will go as well because of how smart her husband is, even when most of the projects seem to be either unstable or faulty. This goes to a point where he trusts his work over his word, choosing to let her daughter be experimented on even when he specified not to get Kaneko involved. Because she believed that his work was truly great, and she can trust that injecting the serum into her daughter, even if this was the exact same experiment that killed him, would be beneficial. Even before her boss fight started, she insisted that Asgore was a coward, being the problem, instead of the actual problem being that Shujin's work was just too dangerous to mess with. Overall, I believe that Ceroba is a very complex character that makes the story of Undertale Yellow so interesting. Her nuances and fallacies create an amazing character that improves the overall game. Thank you for watching, have a wonderful day.